recording and let me record names. You're not hearing any? Okay. Can you hear me now, Benjamin? All right. I'm going to go ahead and go. I'm assuming, Elizabeth, you can hear me since you answered the hey up there. Okay. Let me look at the calendar real quick. I just forgot. Thought I looked at it a moment ago and I don't know what I saw on it. So we're on chapter 6. Okay. Okay. If you're taking my server class, the 2413, yes. I've been doing it all semester in there. And I believe it was at 9 o'clock this morning. Yes. It was at 9 this morning. I do that one at 9 o'clock. I've got collaborate sessions for my classes. I'm assuming Benjamin's switching to the other browser right now. I've got collaborate sessions at 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, and 2. So I'm doing 6 of my day now. When the semester started, I was doing 5. So that takes my whole Monday, and we'll see if Benjamin's on, and we'll go on. I'm going to try doing this at noon here on Wednesdays for this class. Last week we did it Monday evening. Okay, good. So I'm glad you got that working. Just I've heard most often Chrome's the one I hear most often works. But those can be an issue on them. So I'm doing them all day on Monday between the different classes. Sometime after I do the class, I am recording them. This one is being recorded. If you look up there in the upper left-hand corner, you can see the little red marker there. Looks like a camera. It tells you I am recording it. So I do record it. You can go and collaborate and find those recordings by looking for recordings. Over on the left side, there's a drop-down menu that'll give that to you. Or I'll get them as quickly as I can. I'm putting them, uploading them, downloading them from Collaborate, uploading them to YouTube, and then putting that link over there in that video recordings link. Now, I'm doing 6 of them a day on Mondays, so I'm not going to get them done until at the earliest Monday evening, but I do have some other stuff I need to work on also. So I'm going to try to get some of them uploaded this evening and stuff, but how quickly I'll get them uploaded to there, I don't know. Once I do put them on YouTube there, they are closed captioned in. They are not closed captioned in Collaborate, which is the reason the school wants me to transfer them and get them uploaded. I do have the February 3rd and 10th sessions sitting out there. Yeah, I thought I did for this class also. I couldn't remember if we did one on the 3rd or not. So those are there. You can listen to the recordings, but the recordings don't count in place of discussions. I do need to get grading on discussions, and I'm going to try to work on that. That's going to go into my list of where I'm trying to grade each week with them. But yours for this class takes a little bit more work because I have to do where I'm doing my summary of the discussion. It's just for this class. My other classes all have the same basic discussion. It's directed to their class slightly, but I can go through and copy and paste some different things from them all. This is actually our 3rd one. I did one on the 3rd and the 10th. So this is the 3rd week I've done it. Because I distinctly do have one out there on the 3rd. Oh, I'm in the wrong class, sorry. Okay, I was thinking that last week was the 1st one, and I had flipped over looking for whoever about the server class one. So yes, this is our 2nd one. You are correct. Sorry about that. So I've got all of y'all's out there, except for this one, obviously. That does take time to download, because an hour-long video, download it, then turn around and upload it to YouTube. Does take time to do that, and then I have to create the link for it also. So there's that. All right, Chapter 6 is going into the security features of Windows 10. And Windows 10 keeps changing, because remember when they came out with Windows 10, they ceased coming out with new versions of Windows every 3 years. Where prior, after a year and a half, they would do a major upgrade to it. Sometimes they'd call it Release 2, etc. to it. And then they'd come out with, for sure, at least every 3 years, a new version of Windows. With Windows 10, they changed it to a service, and so it's been out for a while now. We should be several versions forward on it at this point on numbers, but that's not what they're doing anymore. They're just staying with one number as number 10. The other part is its preference is to auto update, which is covered in this chapter, because updating is a security feature. That is a feature of theirs on it as a security feature. However, you can set it to update more slowly if you want. You can also go out and manually update more often or less time if you change your settings on it. For the average person out there, the suggestion is leave it to doing automatic updating. Here at the college does not do the updates when they come out. They want to test them, and they wait. And there's a number of times they've told us you really need to update that. Microsoft has told us that, and the school's not been putting it out there. Because there's actually been a virus or two that's come out in the last year or so that the comment was if people had updated their operating systems, it wouldn't have done anything. But people had not done their updates, so they took advantage of a known problem in the system. So the college delays on it. I think we were a little faster this time. I think we just installed last spring's update. I don't think we installed the fall one, but I could be wrong. But we did just install an update on the machines. My machine, I tend to stay a little more up to date. I go out and manually update it myself. So using Windows Update is an important one. They have added a few other things to make things tighter in Windows 10 to try to keep things from happening. User account control, or UAC, which can be irritating to people, is a security feature. You can set it on some different settings on how when it does pop up and confirm that you really want to do what you're going to do. Basically, if you're going to install programs or uninstall programs, it prompts and asks you, are you sure you want to do this, that it wasn't something else that did it. So if you know something about how to do the stuff, you may well want to loosen it up slightly so you don't get those messages often. But if you don't know much, like the people you're going to work with don't know much about Windows and stuff, they may want to keep it tighter on it. So that if a virus or whatever went to, or something else went to install something, they'd get prompted on it and they could tell it not to. However, the other part on that one is, if they don't know a whole lot on that stuff, then they just answer yes on it anyway, so it didn't make any difference other than it was just irritating little pop-up there. So that is in there. They do have, with Windows 10, does come with Defender. That's Microsoft's, what they're calling their antivirus program now. It was their spyware program for a while. It was antivirus before that. Well, an anti-spyware, not spyware. And now it's their malware program. So it's supposed to take care of spyware and viruses. My observation so far has been, ever since it's been out, I have never seen it catch anything. That doesn't mean it's not working, but I don't see it working on it. I see, and there's some others that I have my own thoughts on also, of some that I don't think work very well, some that do work well, some that work well but then goof up at times. But Defender will work with other antiviruses. Now, for instance, Avast will not work with McAfee. Avast does not want to do that, and it will if you tell it to, but it goes, I don't really want to do this. And it wants you to take McAfee off your machine if you got McAfee on it, which in a lot of cases is what people get on their machine besides Defender. McAfee, I've never cared for. McAfee's one of the earliest ones that came along. I have literally seen McAfee let things through that others did not let through. And that's where I don't like McAfee. McAfee, I Love You, that came out in 2000, I believe it was, let it right on through that day. I watched the college I was at then, that was what they had on all of the machines. I watched McAfee come in, I Love You come in and wipe out people's pictures on all of their machines, and wiped out some other documents too. Though he was the one that made McAfee originally. McAfee's now owned by Intel, I think. Pretty sure it's Intel owns McAfee now. Somebody else owns it. It's been sold off long ago. But yeah, I'll agree on the guy that started it and that it's named for. Yeah, he'd fit into the nutcase one. Uh, he's been accused of murder, fled a country, supposed to be running for president this year um, as an independent. I'm pretty sure it's this year. I don't think it's 4 years. I think it's this year he's running. Um, so I wouldn't be surprised on that one, but I have never cared for those products. Um, so that one I don't like. Avast is the one I currently use. It's freebie out there. You can buy it. Um, Supposedly he murdered his girlfriend down it was in Central America, in Belize, I believe is where it was. And when they came to investigate and arrest him, that he fled the country. And he'd already fled the U.S. on something over here, but he's now floating around the U.S., I think. But he had gone down there with the monies he made, because he made a whole bunch of money selling the company. So he's got a bunch of money, and I think he's still got a bunch of that money. I don't think he's thrown it away or anything, but he's, like Kevin said, probably a good description's nutcase. Norton, always liked. Norton was actually the one that saved me with I Love You. I had Norton sitting on my office machine along with McAfee that school had on there. And that morning, Norton said, oh, I don't know what this is that just got on your machine that just came in the email, and I didn't click on it in the email anyway, but it said, this program looks suspicious. It was an exe. It was actually a Visual Basic script file. I was going, no, I'm not clicking on that link because it made absolutely no sense. And Norton flagged it and said it looked suspicious. A few hours later, Norton updated and told me it was I Love You and kept it quarantined. McAfee just read it right on through. And now Norton's had problems before any of y'all start jumping in and saying, well, he eats up all the memory and everything else. They have come out with several versions that were not good versions. Second problem with Norton is they charge too much for it, and they don't have a free version out there. So that's where I've drifted away from it now. But it was real good on catching stuff. It was the first one that used a heuristic approach, which means it goes out and looks for patterns on it, not looking for specific virus files. And so it could catch a lot of things others didn't for a while there. It was ahead of the game. Peter Norton, as opposed to, I can't remember McAfee's first name, is a really smart guy. And he wrote Norton Utilities, which were really, really good and ahead of the game. His Norton, like I said, Norton antivirus was really ahead. Of course, he's sold out, and Symantec owns it nowadays. I'm not sure how much involvement he's still got with it, as opposed to like McAfee has absolutely no connection with. I'm not sure if he's even got ownership on the company that now owns McAfee. But Norton continued to be associated with it after Symantec bought his products. And he's written some really good stuff along the way, although he's not developing, I know, the antivirus program anymore. And I don't think he's really involved in the development anymore. I think he's retired away from that. And I don't know of anything else he's jumped into. Avast has turned out to be a really good one. AVG I loved for a good little while, but it got a little boggish on it. And it's probably gotten better now. Avast actually owns AVG now. But one thing I liked on AVG was it was the first one that would actually catch spyware. They came out with a program that did just spyware, and then they merged it into their antivirus. Now the others have been doing that some too, although I'll say this. They don't do as good a job on catching the spyware as they do on the viruses. Personally, for spyware, I like Super Anti-Spyware. Bitdefender does a really good job on catching some things that nothing else will catch, but I haven't seen it do. But it again gets into a cost to have it monitor all the time. The same thing There's another one out there. Oh, shoot. That does real good on catching stuff, but you can't, unless you buy it, you can't have it monitor your system, but it will, you can run it, which is the way antivirus programs originally were at different times. Because there's one out there that if I know there's something on a machine, but nothing else will get it off, if I run it on it, install it and run it, it will find it and get rid of stuff. The other one on Avast is they've got that they will do boot scans, which means it'll do a scan when before Windows starts up, and it will catch some things that are hard to get rid of or impossible to get rid of when Windows is running, because they hide themselves in the running of the Windows. So that one, however, when you run the boot scan, I will warn you on this, it's going to take several hours. I have seen that in the past, but I haven't seen that in a good while now. But if it does, and you know that it is a legitimate upgrade that you're going to do, you can always go in and disable your antivirus and then run the update. I've also seen it, I have seen the antivirus try to not let you install something also, sometimes because it gets suspicious of something or another on it. And that's a case of go disable the antivirus at that point, do your installation, and then re-enable it again. And then you can keep on going. So that does happen sometimes, but Windows ones, I usually don't. I have seen it in the past, but that's been a good while since I've seen that happen. That doesn't mean it doesn't still occur. I say, I'm not using a lot of the, I'm obviously not using a lot of the antivirus programs out there, because you really, they say you should only have one on a machine, but you can, Defender will work with anything else, which raises the question how much Defender's really doing. And then some of the others actually do send you to work together on it. Norton and McAfee seem to be fine working together. Avast will work with some stuff. So I say, but I've gone towards the free approach right now. I'm going to do something real quick. I'm just going to do a search on antivirus so I can think of the name of the other one, because it will pop up because it's been around for a long time. And I'll remember what in the world it is. I don't see it right there. WebRoot was pretty good. I've used that one in the past, but I really didn't use it myself. That it was, I had others, some customers using it and stuff. Maybe Bitdefend. Oh, there it is. Malwarebytes. That's the one I was thinking of. Malwarebytes does really good on catching, pulling, getting rid of stuff, but it doesn't do an auto scan. Doesn't just run in the background watching everything going on all the time. And so I do use Malwarebytes sometimes when I'm trying, when I've got a machine that's got something on it and I know there's something there. And sometimes even that the antivirus program has told me there's something there, tries to get rid of it and tells me it can't get rid of it. But it doesn't do a full-time scanning of it. Yeah, I think if you buy the bot one, but the free one does not. But you can get a freeware version of it, but you have to stand alone run it. You really need an antivirus program that runs in the background. So I like Malwarebytes for diagnostic purposes. And I paid for Norton for a number of years, and then I went to AVG. The other part is Some of the cable providers actually will provide you with a free copy of Norton. I know as of a couple of years ago, Comcast still did. I don't know if they still do now or not, 'cause I actually used it for a little bit. And then I had gone to AVG, and then kept playing back to Norton. Because Norton, IBM came out with an antivirus product back in the late 80s, one of the earliest ones out there. Norton bought them out, but when IBM came out with their antivirus program, let's say was an early one, back in the same time period, Norton and McAfee came along, but I'm not sure which one came first. But I got IBM when I was running the computers for Swainsboro Tech. Went to installing it on machines, and it reduced my workload by about 10, 15 hours a week because of it removing things off their, preventing things from getting on their machines, and me not having to rebuild machines because there was lots of things that would wipe out everything on the machine, and then you'd have to go back through and keep a copy and reinstall everything all again. So my workload went down tremendously on that, and then Norton bought them, merged it into their product, and did real on. But I'm like you, Benjamin. I don't have it on a USB drive, but I'll go download it real quick if in question. All right. So you got a number of different things on that. You can also audit to keep your security things recorded so that you can look in the event viewer and look at it. App Locker will work nicely for setting some rules on the stuff, and that you can build off of that one. And so you can set rules on what things can be done with App Locker, although I really haven't used App Locker as such. But App Locker will limit you on where things can be installing from and such, and makes it a little bit more tighter on it. So you may well want to be doing that. So they have an assignment for you working with App Locker, and then you can set up your other policies also about your software and other security items. Password links is also mentioned here, rules on passwords, history on them, how many times can they how many do they have to come up with new ones before they can reuse a password. You really do want at least some history set there on it. Otherwise, if you make people change your password every 30 days and you don't set a history rule there, they just change it back to what it was. If you set a history rule of just one, then they change it to a new one and then go back in, change it immediately and set it back to what it was. Well, they didn't do anything. The other one is what's the age, what's the maximum age you'll let passwords get to be. I just mentioned the 30-day one on it. Most security people would tell you don't require them being changed every 30 days. But if you do it that often, people are just going to write them down and start. And writing them down is okay, as long as you don't leave them right there with the computer. Because after all, the study I just saw the other day said the average person has 20 accounts that they need passwords for out there. And you don't want the same password on everything. Because then if somebody does, if one of the sites you use gets breached and they get your password and your username from there, they can try it on other sites, and it'll work on every other site that you're on. And they just broke it into everything else too, of yours. So they do tell you you can write them down. They suggest you not keep them exactly the password with where it is or with the username type thing. So if somebody did get your list, they can't figure it out. Just don't make them really easy and highly visible. Don't hide them under the keyboard. That's what that is, which people do. And I have walked into places and caught them on that, picked up the keyboard, and they're set their password. But you can write them down. They used to tell you don't write them down. Well, you need to. Passphrases work really well. You do have the password lockers out there where you can go out and put them in the places. I'm not a big advocate of that. That's not saying they're bad. I just don't. sold on them, because if I put all my passwords into one location out there that's supposed to be a really secure location, well, I can assure you people are trying to break those password lockers all the time, and they're going to break them. And then what's going to be the issue at that point? So minimum age will help get around the issue I just mentioned to you about if you set the history at 2 or 3. If you put a minimum age on there, they got to use that new password at least so many days. Minimum password length. It was 8, but now I'm seeing more and more places starting to push towards 10 and 12. So that one. And then you definitely do want to store the passwords using, no, you don't want to store the passwords using reversible encryption, because you don't want it to be reversible on it, so that if somebody did break into your machine, that they can't catch the passwords that are out there. That'll make it much harder for them. I can't say can't, just like I can't say the password lockers are not protected either. They should be having really good security on them, but there is no absolute security. If we can get in to get our password out of it, somebody else can break in and do the same thing. If we make it absolutely secure, we can't get in to get our password either. So that doesn't work very well. So they show you a little bit on that and take you through. And on auditing, auditing is really useful. Now, you don't want to audit everything. Be aware of that. You only want to audit the things you want to look at and watch, because you can turn up with tons of reports that are worthless of all of this data that's out there. So you might, and you can turn auditing on and off on different features. So for instance, account log on. Have it audit into your event log every time somebody logs on to an account. Well, then you can watch that to see when people are when accounts are being logged on to, and realize if there's an account being logged on when it shouldn't be being logged on. Go check on it and see if it was a legitimate. And if not, you need to do something about protecting that. And they talk about, you can also do in terms of objects, of having it every time an object is accessed, that it records a record of it, and so you can watch on that, but you want to be careful on not getting too much. So they talk about those, have you learn on that. Then they go through and talk about user access control, which we already talked about. So they have a little bit on that, have you configure on that. Then they go into the malware protection, mention about the Windows Defender, and have you look at it, and it's automatically there on Windows 10. And then they talk about encryption, give you a little bit on that, some more information. The EFS, the encrypting file system, where files are encrypted out there, and they talk about those. And that, I think, is going to pretty well get us through the chapter. I'm somewhere down there. BitLocker is also mentioned. You can't use BitLocker on your drives on the virtual machines because of the way we set them up as, I can't remember what type of drive it is, but BitLocker is not going to work very well, so you may well find that doesn't work. I'm not sure if she assigns 6-10 or not. Let me look real quick and see. But I also, did y'all notice I am putting notes out there that I've always put in my classes on the different items, on the different activities of things I have found didn't work on them. Basically, I have already gone through and done everything in your book, and then recorded notes about where I ran into problems and what needed changing and stuff on it. And then some of the notes also are students have given when they ran into problems, we figured out something else didn't work either, and I add that into my notes. So that's a compilation. Initially, it is, mostly it is my stuff from my experience. All right, she does have you doing 6-10. You may hit a problem on that one of whether it's going to let you enable BitLocker or not on the virtual drive on that virtual machine. But if that's the case, just do a snip. And she said do a snip on step 27. But it did work for me. But I remember there was some problems on it. But I see looking at my notes, and I'll show you right there. Y'all can see some little written stuff out there. That was my notes I wrote when I did the assignments. So it should work on through for you. But I remember some people have a problem occasionally with that. So just be aware of that. And then they get into talking about Windows Update, and I've already talked about that to you. And there's the chapter. Now, have y'all got any questions for me? Yeah, the notes have helped a lot of people, and like I say, between the 3 server classes and this class, the books that we use in all of them, I have gone through and done the whole thing. I've heard that Benjamin mentioned something, but I don't remember anything on it, but the term is familiar right there, but I don't remember anything about that. So I'm not sure. I can't tell you anything good, bad, or otherwise on that. But let's say if you really have a okay. I probably have it sitting on one of the thumb drives people have given me of different things. Yes, Kevin. So the discussion that popped up on Friday, that's due this Friday, the 3 of you do not need to do it because I will post 100 out there in your discussion for this week. And I'll have a note there also with it that said did discussion live or did collaborate live. The same thing goes in my other classes, Kevin, also. And I think Elizabeth may be in another one of my classes also. I don't think Benjamin's taking anything else from me, but I think Elizabeth is, or she did. So we've run well over 35 minutes. I was a few minutes late starting, but and this was the only time I had that I could squeeze in. So you're just starting out then, I gather, Benjamin, that you're in your first or second semester. If you're in 1135, 1122, and then this class. Okay. And registration for summer will be coming up in March, the 2nd week. Did I go over the schedule at the beginning with y'all of what my schedule looks like for the next couple of weeks? Mind you, I've already done a 9 and a 10 and an 11 o'clock session, so this is my 4th session. Okay, let me run over that real quick with y'all, because I'll get things mixed up when I'm doing 6 sessions a day. Okay. No. It should not be where that is where I would also read my notes carefully, okay? Because when I did all of this in y'all's book, and I teach this class normally in the fall, okay? So I teach it every fall. When I did all of this stuff and went through it, that I was doing on virtual machines. Now, I realize y'all are using VMware. I used VirtualBox, but that shouldn't make any big difference on that. VirtualBox seems to be a little bit more slimline, straightforward. VMware is much more a heavier commercial product. Nothing against VMware. As a matter of fact, VMware is what you're going to see more businesses using out there. But they're both. I really have absolutely no information on her because I don't know anything other than that a couple of us were asked to take over her classes for the semester and that she was going to be out for a while. And since I don't work down there in Rome, that I'm up here at Walker and at Catoosa and Dalton, I don't ever see her, so I don't know anything. So Elizabeth, it should work fine for you. And just pay attention to my notes. Make sure you notice whatever I've written in my notes on there, because that's some of that stuff that I've written up for you are things that where in the book it might have been, it would have worked fine on a standalone machine, but when you put it on a virtual machine, it changed how it did some on it. Because sometimes, basically, it works the same on the virtual machine as on the real machine, but sometimes when you're trying to access things, and this chapter would be a case of that, try and see. And the other part is, as y'all have already come into realizing, is Windows 10 is continuously updating. It does updates every 6 months. Now they're going to say that the spring one, I believe it is, will be the major update. One of the two each year. They could do one theoretically in March and September. However, they tend to come out a month or two later. So they have a 03 or an 09 date on them, and then the year. Or maybe it's the year and then the month. I don't know which. That they're going to switch to one of those is going to be a major one each year, and the other one will be a little bit more minor. Now, they also have every month and could be every week or two. Actually, it's supposed to be twice a month that they have minor updates and security updates that come out along the way too, but they have major there twice a year. Last fall's had a lot of problems. The fall one the year before that had a lot of problems, and that's where they've now said they're going to switch to trying to do the major stuff once a year on it. Let's see, have I skipped? Okay, next week we'll have the session as normal at this time. I'm going to stay with this time on it because I was already doing them at 9, 10, 11, 1, and 2. I go to a Chamber of Commerce, member recognition, ribbon cutting type things, a lot of Mondays at 4 o'clock up in Catoosa County, so I like to keep it free after that for me to slip out and go do that. And I've done them in the evening in the past, but I'd really rather not do in the evening. Because Tuesday nights I actually teach for Chat State, a class over in Kimball. I don't know if y'all know where Kimball is, but it's west of Chattanooga. It's just over the central time zone, over at the bottom of Mount Eagle, by South Pittsburgh. So that's a drive over there and back on Tuesday evenings. Wednesday evening I go to church from 5 till 7 o'clock for supper and then Bible study. And so I'd like to have my Monday and Thursday evenings a little bit more open for me. Yeah, I saw on that one, but it was apparently select what I saw. And I didn't ever see anything else big about it, other than it did cause some problems on that. That it appeared that I haven't seen anything else on that. And that there is the reason some places like the college has chosen on that they want to test the updates on a machine before they go and release them out. But then I think it was some special configuration that caused that to occur, and usually has when that type thing has occurred. And so they actually, I think, put out an update that undoes that update and also removes that update from out there. I believe is what they did, but I did see that one, Benjamin. Didn't see a whole lot about it, but I did see it pop up on something. So we'll stay with this noon on Mondays. I think we'll probably be going on through the whole semester, probably stay with this time period on it. Next week, this week I should be around on campus all week as far as I know. Next week, Thursday and Friday I will be gone, but I'll be online probably Thursday afternoon and then on and off throughout Friday. I'm going to a Kiwanis mid-year training event in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I'm running for governor of the Kentucky-Tennessee Kiwanis, and so I need to go do some campaigning at their state meeting and also learn some more stuff. So I'm going up on Thursday because of that. I've got a friend going with me. Then the following week, Thursday and Friday are student holidays. Now I said student holidays. Thursday, the faculty all has to go to Calhoun for meetings all day, staff development all day, that we go through training, etc. type stuff all day, and we'll start like at 8 o'clock in the morning and go till 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I know I'm leaving at 4. I've got a reception with a congressman to go to at 5 o'clock in Dalton that day. And then that Friday, all of the employees of the college have to go to our meetings in Calhoun for our annual meetings that we do that day. We do budget planning and all kinds of other stuff that day. So we're in meetings from 8:30 that morning till 4 o'clock or so that afternoon. Normally I get off after lunch on Friday because I'll work late a lot of days and work in the evenings and on the weekends, as y'all have figured out by now. When y'all have a problem, it should not have been canceled today because today is not a school holiday. President's Day is celebrated by the college during Christmas week. So it was supposed to have met today still. And that so that'll be that week. And then the following week we will have the session on Monday, that Monday, and then immediately after I do the last one, and I may cut them off after y'all's that day and do the last two one evening that week. I'm going to North Carolina, to Pinehurst, North Carolina. If any of your golfers know, that's a big golfing community. But they're having a statewide computer conference over there that I go to each year. Tuesday is a Cisco conference all day. And I mean all day. We start like at 8:30 in the morning and go till 4:30, 5 o'clock. And then we're having a dinner that night. And then Wednesday and Thursday, I go to this computer conference, same place, but it's on general computer stuff for instructors. And we have a dinner on Wednesday evening with it. And Thursday evening, I'll probably go to dinner with some people that I know from some other schools. Friday, we got stuff that morning, and then after lunch, we break, and I get to head home. So that'll be a full week for me. I will be online in the evenings that week, but probably not during the day because I'll be in sessions all during the day. But when I get back to the motel, I'll get online. So that's the upcoming schedule as far as I know. But beyond that, I don't. There can be stuff pop up. Like last week, I didn't know about what I was going to do on Monday and Tuesday with setting up cloud curriculum for the state. I knew I was in charge of doing that, but I didn't know we were going to have a meeting, and with AWS, which is Amazon Web Services, which is Amazon's cloud, their people about setting up with them in Atlanta. And Thursday a week ago, just a couple of days before I was supposed to be in Atlanta, they wrote and told me, you need to be here at this meeting if they'll let you go. So I went. And so the school sent me. Wednesday, I knew I was going to be gone when I went to the Capitol because I'm in Leadership Catoosa. All right, let me let y'all go because we've run almost an hour, and I've got another session starting in somewhere around 6 minutes. So I got to switch over to that one, which I believe is the first Cisco class, if I remember right. So if somebody's got me from that. So hopefully see y'all next week. I hope this was beneficial to all of you. Pass the word along to your classmates because y'all were the first ones to attend one of the sessions. Last week, nobody attended. And tell them what the sessions really are. Okay? Because no matter how well I try to describe it to y'all, people don't really understand on it always of what's involved with it. So pass the word on to the others. And if you got a suggestion for something you want me to do better, and then like y'all saw, If you got a question along the way or a comment, just throw it in there, and I might not answer it right off the bat, but I'll get to it and answer it on it. And that we can deal with some things that we can also, if y'all need, I can go to a live screen on Office on Windows 10 and show you some stuff also. The other part is, if y'all need another Collaborate session just to go over something specifically during the week, let me know. It can be one person or a group of you, and I can go through with a group of one or a group of you. We can find a common time that'll work for us, and we can go meet online and do that and collaborate also. Collaborate sessions don't have to be just established time periods. All right, I'm going to stop the recording, and you can tell